program that I was a resident at, where you have to be under 25, is called Fabrica, Fabrica.
Is that an Italian company?
It's it's Italian.
Okay, it's the one I know. Okay, and then the other thing is, oh well, your JS library is awesome. I've had my bookmarks since, I mean, a lot of time. I always go
thank
check
you.
it out, and the Grammatica graphics too, they're killer. I love Grammatica, and you know that's awesome that you're the one who does that.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Well, I worked with a design studio in Slovenia. They're super talented, so
Yeah.
it wasn't just me, but
Cool.
thanks.
Yeah,
I'll tell them too.
Hi, we talked earlier. I'm Mickey. What would you say your main role is? Would you say animation designer, interaction designer, JavaScript developer? What would you label yourself as?
Well, I hope you can see from this, or maybe this, that it's different depending on the project. And I don't know, I'm not really one to want to label things. Like, I'm a human, you're a human,
Okay, cool. Also, where do you find your inspiration from? Like video games, music videos, movies?
A lot of media that I don't know how to make is often where my most inspiration, or most of my inspiration comes from. Like, I'm not a musician, so a lot of the work that I've shown is kind of in reference to music. Or I'm not a filmmaker, so some of the best kind of moments I've had are watching certain animated films or live action films and being like, wow, how did they do that? How would you even begin to do that? And it's kind of inspiring, you know, as a
Cool.
co-creator, you know, you're like, I want to get out and make.
It's like how much would you say that traveling in the real world inspires you creatively in sort of that digital world? Or does it at all?
No, I think it definitely does. Like I personally I just talked about a bunch of art and career related stuff, but that's only a portion of your life. Yeah. You know, and a lot of the things that I happen to do, I needed a clean break, and so moving was that opportunity. Maybe it had some career slant, so I could sell it to my parents or my friends or even myself. But I think traveling is really good because it kind of breaks you away from your perspective and kind of being head down and being like, whoa, it's life's not that bad. You know, reinvigorate yourself to do what you want to do. So the question was about time management. I guess I seem to be pretty good at that. I wouldn't consider myself that. And actually, I was talking to Colin, looking at this one, this view, this intimate one down at the bottom. That's projects that I've worked on, with my girlfriend or for my girlfriend, and it kind of made me realize, if I did less of these personal ones and more of these intimate ones, maybe I would still have a girlfriend right now. So that's maybe the downside. The upside is that, you know, I mean, for me, I get, it's really exciting, a lot of these projects. I'm excited to work on them. I'm also excited to share them. And it's mainly just I want to do this. How to, you know, I think it you know, that was maybe an extreme characterization of what I would think the downside of kind of working on projects all the time or using work to get through problems that you have. But I think the upside is that, you know, I'm happy to carry this with me, you know, and I'm totally surprised. I haven't looked at most of these projects pretty much since I released them. So to be here to speak with you guys about this sort of stuff and to be able to also have that still, that's a pretty big upside, I think.
Now that you've done some analysis how is this going to impact how you choose to spend your time in the future? Is this going to impact what kinds of projects you want to work on, or has it impacted just by the act of looking at it? Has that, impacted future plans?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely has. I think also partly because I'm about to turn 30, and everybody kind of says that's a huge milestone. I've been thinking about just like my work and my life differently, but I think in this particular instance, I think what's really telling is I still think, like I'll see a project and be like, man, I could have done that, or I will have an idea and be like, I'm probably not going to work on it now, but I could do it sometime. And to see it all laid out, like, oh, this is actually what you did the last 8 years, right? Because this is not what I just showed. That's every project I finished. It doesn't even touch on the projects I started, right? There's probably like 10 times as many projects. And so I think in that way, it really was like, oh, yeah, I should, I mean, just cherish the things that I have done and look forward to the things that I will do, but also be okay that you can't do everything. Like, you definitely, it's futile.
I love how refined your aesthetic is while still being incredibly playful. I think that's an incredible talent to like bring those things together. And I was curious, like, how do you bring that to a team? Like, you've worked in very collaboratively. Could you speak about that?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's a tough one. I think when you're working as a team, what's great about the team is that there's more than one person. And so it sounds really straightforward, right? But when you start to work as a team, it's actually, most of the stuff that the project, like all of the work that a project in a team environment is made, like a very small amount of that is actually you. It's not yours, it's a team thing. And so in that way, I think having, different skill sets or okay, whatever. Having different skill sets, affords this like, okay, like today I'm going to be the developer. On this next thing, I'm going to be the designer, and still trying to be in touch with, personally, like I want to be invested in this way for this project, versus a project that's just yours. Like, that's your project, right? So you kind of have to wear all the hats, and they both have pluses and minuses, and I think it's great. I feel super lucky because I've been able to try both.
You're pretty successful in your career. Did you at any time feel like you couldn't make it to the level that you're at? And if so, what got you through that block?
I mean, I think that never goes away. That's kind of the problem with being an artist, or maybe the benefit of being an artist. Yeah, I mean, definitely, nope. Friends and family are paramount. Like, my mom has been to every exhibition I've ever had, every show. She even accepted my first award at FITC in Toronto. I wasn't even there. To have that kind of support, and that's just, that's my mom, but also my friends are super supportive. To have that kind of support, I think it does a lot, and I hope, like, thinking about like longer term, like if I could make projects that encourage people instead of discourage people, I think that would be something that I want to continue to focus on.
I've seen that during like different moments of your life, or at least this last 10 years, you went from like straight technical, like writing something like 2JS, to just simple prints or like shirt. Like, how do you do that? How do you go from like maybe like you're spending 6 hours like working on a little function inside like a library, like extremely technical, to just like break down and say, okay, I'm gonna make a print. I'm gonna make like a shirt for a friend or something.
Yeah.
Like, what is that motivates you to do that swap?
Yeah. I mean, I think the underlying motivation is kind of balance. I don't want to get like too far away from my roots. But I think the day-to-day reality is, you know, these projects I'm really proud of, but kind of like my day-to-day is actually, you know, navigating like, what's the next project? Who am I working with? Why do I work at this company? Should I work for this company? Yeah, I should work for this company. Those types of questions. I think, you know, there's something that you should consider when, you know, you have a lot of options. The skill sets that you have when you're coming out of school, you know, they're real. There's real value. It's not just like, oh, here's my salary. That's the value. And so those decisions, that's what makes you, you know, an artist or a designer or an architect or whatever it is that you become in life. So I think those decisions are really important. And the decision that I make, like the Secret 7-inch that I do every year, part of it is it's cool, it's a nonprofit, but part of it is it's a really small scoped project that I know how to do, I can experiment on. It's like I spend 2 weeks on it and like that's it. Maybe I try something new, but I can always do the same thing that I know how to do already. And to put yourself in a situation where you can take on a big project but also do a small project like that, I think is helpful. Approaching a project, I used to say that I start with sketching, but I think it starts before that. I start just thinking about it, and the projects that I get really obsessed with, like Patatap or Typotone, or the music videos that I've worked on, like I think about them, you know, many months or potentially years. Like Patatap, the talk that I usually give is it's the same arc. It's a 10-year arc, but it's from like how I started programming to how I got to Patatap. And like that's how long Patatap took. It took 10 years when people ask. It didn't, like, the actual code took like 2 months. But like that idea and the way that it manifested itself, all of that took a really long time. And so the projects that I get obsessed with, you know, you have a lot of ideas in life, but sometimes certain ones keep coming back. And so those are the ones that I get obsessed with. I'm like, okay, I have to figure this out. Like, why can I not stop thinking about this? And I don't mean in a way that's like prohibitive to you, right? It's just like, I'm like walking down the street and I'm like, what if you could send messages where they had music? Then you like forget about it, and then 2 months later you're like, wait, I had an idea about these messages or something. And then you start writing it down and then drawing it out, and then it starts to get fleshed out and stuff. So that's my personal process.